Hi all, today we are going to discuss about single phase half control rectifier with R load. So before going to this topic, first let us see what are the applications of this phase control rectifiers. So these phase control rectifiers are used where you want the DC supply, that to variable DC supply for the operation of the DC drives such as rolling mills, paper mills, textile mills etc., which are employing either DC motor drives, and HVDC transmission is a major application. And the next one, even the electric traction system which uses the DC drives. So AC can be converted to the variable DC supply. So there also we go for phase control rectifiers. So similar way they are used for the portable hand tools also in order to get the variable speed. So now coming to this phase control rectifier, how they are constructed, they basically use the thyristors as their switches, and the instant of turn on can be controlled by controlling the firing angle of the gate circuit. And for the turning off process, because thyristor cannot be turned off by itself, so for turning off process either we have to go for the natural commutation or forced commutation, so which is the process called as turning off of the thyristor. So in this case, for the case of converters, the thyristor is turned off when the current is less than the holding current, which can be achieved naturally during the negative half cycle of your supply, because your input AC supply is having both positive and negative half cycle. During the negative half cycle, how this commutation will be done? During the negative half cycle, the current will decrease automatically. When the current reaches less than the holding current, automatically the commutation will be done. So as it is done automatically using the features of your supply only, that's why it is called as a natural commutation, or also called as the line commutation. So as separate commutation circuit is not required, so automatically the cost of your circuit will decrease, because separate commutation circuit is not required. So now coming to the control rectifiers can be classified into two types broadly. First one is based on how they are rectifying, they can be either half wave or full wave. And similarly, based on the supply, we can classify them as single phase and the three phase. So let us see the working of single phase half wave control rectifier with R load. So let us assume this is my load. So the reference direction of my output current I am taking as I0, and your supply voltage I am taking as Vs is equal to V maximum sin omega t. This is the waveform of your supply. So now this thyristor is used for as a switch here. So now the instant of turning on can be controlled by controlling the signal that is given to the gate. So here gate we apply the pulse. Whenever the pulse is applied to the gate, this thyristor will turn on, and it can turn on only when the thyristor is forward biased. That means during forward bias condition, by giving the pulse to the gate, the thyristor can turn on. So let us see how it will operate. So let us assume I am giving the gate pulses at this instant. So during this instant I am giving the gate pulse. Let us assume this is my gate pulse Iz. So this is my gate pulse. So whenever the gate pulse is given, because during the positive half cycle your thyristor is forward biased. So as the thyristor is forward biased, when the gate pulse is applied, it will act as a closed switch. So now what will happen? Your output voltage will be equal to your supply voltage, because it is acting as a closed switch. So at this instant, whenever the firing is done, so your output voltage will be equal to your source voltage. So that's why your output voltage will come up to here. So this is your output waveform. So let me change the color so that it will be more clearly visible. Okay, your output waveform will come like this. So let me just erase all the things. So your output waveform will come like this. So now coming to the current, how the output current will come? Output current will be equal to output voltage divided by the resistance. You agree with me? So this current also will resemble the output voltage. So that's why output current I am representing with the blue color. So it will follow this voltage, output voltage divided by resistance will give my current. So this is my value of I0. So this I0 will be equal to V0 divided by resistance. So this is my output voltage. Getting it? Similar is the case during the next half cycle also, when the pulse is given. So the current will conduct during this time, and the output voltage will be this one. This is my output voltage waveform. Sorry, because I am drawing on the screen, it is very difficult to draw the lines properly. So this is my output voltage and this is my output current. So now whenever we reach angle is equal to pi, at this instant you can see the output current is equal to 0, output current is nothing but your supply current. You agree with me? So Is is equal to I naught because they are connected in series. You can apply the KCL. So when the current is equal to 0, that means it is less than the holding current. So the thyristor will turn off automatically. So when the thyristor is turned off, what will happen? It will act as an open switch. So entire voltage will drop across your thyristor. That means during the negative half cycle it will be turned off. So entire voltage will drop across your thyristor. So your thyristor voltage will be like this, entire negative half cycle, and the instant up to which it is turned on, that firing angle is there, up to that instant it will be in off condition. Similarly here also, until the instant of alpha or the firing angle, the thyristor acts as an open circuit. So that's why your entire source voltage will drop across your thyristor because it is an open switch. Getting it? Because current is equal to 0. So after that, once the thyristor is turned on, its voltage drop to 0. So your output voltage will be equal to your supply voltage. So this V0 will be equal to Vs when it is conducting. Getting it? So what is the maximum voltage up to which it will reach? Peak inverse voltage. This peak inverse voltage will be equal to V maximum. That means during the off condition or reverse biased condition, the maximum voltage that can reach will be equal to V maximum. Let us see the duration for which your thyristor is in reverse bias condition. Your thyristor is reverse biased from pi to 2 pi. Because between this instant to this instant, your thyristor is reverse biased. So we are going to discuss about this in detail. So please remember, your thyristor is reverse biased from pi to 2 pi because during this time current is equal to 0 and the voltage across thyristor is opposite to the reference direction. So that duration is pi to 2 pi or total equal to pi. So now firing angle is defined as the angle measured from the instant SCR get forward biased to the instant it is triggered. So let us go back to this and define the firing angle. So we can tell that actually your thyristor is forward biased at this instant at omega t is equal to 0 and we are applying the firing pulse here. So this duration is called as the firing angle. This angle is called as the firing angle. Similar is the case here also, we can tell this angle is the firing angle. So this is my instant pi, this is my instant 2 pi. So firing angle is clear to you. The instant at which your SCR is forward biased to the instant when the triggering pulse is applied. Now coming to the second term, this circuit turn off time, which is called as a T suffix C, is the duration for which the thyristor is reverse biased. In our current example, the thyristor is reverse biased for a duration of pi to 2 pi, or the duration is equal to 2 pi minus pi, which is pi. So this pi divided by, because this x-axis is omega t, agree with me? So omega t is equal to pi or t is equal to pi by omega, agree with me? So it is for pi by omega seconds, where omega is nothing but equal to 2 pi f. So for satisfactory commutation, so always this duration for which your thyristor is in reverse bias condition should always be greater than the thyristor turn off time. Actually thyristor needs some time to completely turn off or completely recover to the normal condition. So that will be mentioned in the data sheet provided by the vendor. So always this we have to take care that the TC should be always greater than TQ. So for the satisfactory commutation purpose. So now let us try to calculate each of the variables. So first we will calculate the average output voltage. We know the output voltage, you can see here the output voltage is coming from alpha to pi. Only for this much duration it is coming out of the 2 pi duration. Again here when it is starting, again after 2 pi it is starting at 2 pi plus alpha and again it is going up to 3 pi. Only this much duration it is coming. So we can calculate the average value will be equal to, out of 2 pi duration 1 by 2 pi, it is conducting from alpha to pi. Only this much duration output is coming. So output is equal to input at that time. So V maximum sin omega t d omega t. This will be equal to V maximum by 2 pi into 1 plus cos alpha. Agree with me? So now coming to the maximum value of the average output will be obtained when the value of alpha is equal to 0. Agree with me? When alpha is equal to 0, this becomes 1. So average output becomes maximum. How much will be the maximum voltage possible? 1 plus 1, that is 2. 2V maximum by 2 pi or V maximum by pi. So otherwise we can tell the average output voltage in this case in terms of the maximum average output as maximum average voltage divided by 2 into 1 plus cos alpha. In that way also we can represent. So now coming to average load current will be equal to average load voltage divided by the load resistance, that is the resistance is R. You agree with me? So now coming to RMS value of the output voltage, because for the case of resistive load, the power is dissipated in the form of heat. That means the power is dissipated due to the RMS value. Whereas when if you are going for charging of a battery, the charging of a battery is charged due to the charge that is passing. So there our concern will be the average value or the DC component. Whereas for the case of resistive load, we need to consider about RMS value of the voltage and RMS value of the current, because here the power is dissipated in the form of heat. So the RMS value of the output voltage VOR will be equal to, out of 2 pi, it is conducting only from alpha to pi. So the voltage we have to take the square. So V maximum square sin square omega t d omega t whole to the power of 1 by 2. So this sin square omega t I can write as 1 minus cos 2 omega t divided by 2 d omega t. This is nothing but equal to V maximum square by 4 pi into integration of 1. Integration of 1 will be equal to omega t. This 2 I have taken outside. So this is becoming 4 pi, right? So integration of cos 2 omega t will be equal to sin 2 omega t divided by 2, and the integration is from, so we have to substitute from alpha to pi whole to the power of 1 by 2. So I have just substituted those values. So you will get your value as V maximum by 2 root pi. I have taken outside the square root. So inside the square root it will be pi minus alpha plus 1 by 2 times of sin 2 alpha. This is my RMS value of the output voltage. Now RMS value of the output current will be equal to RMS voltage divided by resistance. So now the power delivered to the resistive load, we know it is equal to I square multiplied by R, or we can write as VOR square, that means RMS voltage square divided by R, or if you are substituting the value of I or V, so in terms of V and I, you will get it as a VOR multiplied by IOR. So how to calculate my input power factor of your source? So input power factor is given as the power that is delivered to the load divided by input volt amperes. The power that is delivered to the load divided by input volt amperes. What is my input volt amperes? RMS value of input voltage multiplied by RMS value of input current, and power delivered to the load depends on what is the type of the load. In our example, in this example it is resistive load, that's why it is the product of RMS voltage multiplied by RMS current. RMS value of my load current will be equal to RMS value of my source current. You agree with me? So when I substitute that, this will become equal to VOR divided by VS, which is V maximum by root 2. So this I can write as VOR divided by this VS. If I substitute V maximum by root 2, I will get this answer. So peak inverse voltage is the voltage that is applied across your switch or the thyristor during reverse bias condition, maximum reverse voltage that is coming. So that will be equal to V maximum in this case. So I hope that how to calculate the variables for the case of control rectifier with R load is clear to you. If you still have any queries, you can leave your comments in the comment section below. I will answer to your queries from there. Thank you very much.